Bitcoin is finally starting to recover and we're inching back closer to $90,000. We're going to talk about that in this video and specifically why it's happening, because on the macro trend, the entire stock market is starting to look in the green too. Now it's early Monday morning. The stock market hasn't opened up, but the tide seems to be shifting. We're going to talk about, is this a bull trap and how you guys should play it next. The other thing that we're going to do is I'm actually going to put a leverage play in live because a lot of people have been asking me how to do it. So I'm going to show you how to do this super easily, jam-packed video. Stay till the end because I promise it's going to be worth your time. But before we get started, welcome back to the channel. My name's Doc. Throughout the day, I'm a resident physician, and at night, I take you guys on my crypto and investing journey. And I say night, but it's super early Monday morning, so we're doing all the things here. All right, let's just get started here. Bitcoin looking at $87,000. This is the 4-hour chart. And we really have been just having this nice move up. And a lot of people are asking me like, hey, Doc, is this a bull trap? Like, what's going on? If we look at the crypto bubbles, this is the daily, everything's green. So like, what's going on? Like, why is this popping off? Well, if we look at the stocks, this is SPY, right? The S&P 500. And you can see all of these things here. It says stock market today. They're preparing for early gains as there's reports for lighter tariffs than threatened, right? People are saying April hasn't even started yet and it's already affecting stocks. So it's been less than a week and the tide is already shifting. And guys, I can tell you right now, narratives, they change and they change fast, right? Bitcoin right now is specifically related to the macro environment. And the interesting thing is fears of tariffs are starting to dissipate, right? We've kind of gotten over this whole, oh my gosh, like, are the tariffs gonna screw everything over? People are exhausted by that news story. So Bitcoin's having this really nice run up. Personally, what I'm looking for is, can we get back above this bull market support band, right? So it's going to be interesting. We've kind of got to, get back to this $88,000, and then can we push through that, right? The other really interesting thing here is Ethereum getting some nice momentum too. Yes, I know it's only right around 2,100, but it's starting to push back in the right direction. And we haven't looked at Bitcoin dominance for a while, but if we go to the daily chart on this, it's still sitting above this trend line that we drew months ago, right? So we need to see Bitcoin dominance fall below this trend line and get back into the 50s. For those who aren't aware, Bitcoin dominance, this is how much Bitcoin takes up of the entire market cap. So for example, the entire market cap is roughly 3 trillion right now, and Bitcoin takes up 61% of that, right? So I'm looking at all of these things. The last thing that we want to look at here, this is global liquidity, right? And it's really high, right? It's almost as high as it's ever been. So I think it peaked out right at $83 trillion. We're at 82 trillion right now. But if we look at a weekly view, you guys can see that global liquidity, this is all the money printing, right? M2 in the entire world. So, right, the US, the EU, Japan, China, Canada, everything combined. And when this goes up, this is kind of like thinking that the printer's on, right? Printer go burr. And that's what we're seeing here. And risk on assets like Bitcoin absolutely love high liquidity markets. So we're going to continue to follow this, but this is really good, right? As liquidity goes up, Bitcoin will lag anywhere from 2 to 3-ish months, right? So watching this, Bitcoin bubbles, like we said, crypto bubbles on the daily, everything's up, guys. Everything's up right now. And stay tuned because I'm actually going to put a leverage trade in with SEI. Like, I'm actually going to put that trade live on air because I know a lot of people are curious, like, hey, Doc, how do I do this? So we're saying, this was a tweet from last night, futures are looking green, right? The stock market, the NASDAQ, the S&P, it's all up. And in my opinion, that is what's causing Bitcoin to really start to rally here, right? So the other interesting thing is, we talked about these tariffs on April 2nd, right? They're going to produce this list of tariffs, but Trump already said that he's going to be flexible with tariffs, and the market really responded well to that last week. Okay, the other big thing is we have some big economic data this week. Now, personally, there are a lot of big things happening. There's really 2 things that I'm looking at, more or less, 2 or 3. So Q4 GDP, right? So that was October, November, December. They do revisions all the time, right? So we're going to see what those revisions are. Probably the least important of the three, but nonetheless, it could be bullish if revisions aren't as bad as we originally thought. I think the big two ones, though, are the initial jobless claims, right? The jobless claims on Thursday, right? Because that's going to tell us how strong or weak the economy is. And then the big one is this Friday. This is core PCE inflation. This is the Fed's preferred gauge to monitor inflation. And this is super, super important. I'm going to put myself full screen. So inflation, what we need this week, we want it to come at expectations. We really don't want it to be too low or too high, right? Because if inflation is hotter than expected or it's higher than expected, then Fed Chair Powell is going to have a tough time cutting rates, okay? But if inflation's lower than expected and the market starts to recover, right, he could also have thoughts the other way. So I'm going to be monitoring this on Friday. That's why you guys follow me, because I get you guys fast, reliable information, and I try to make it, easy to digest. The other big thing that we have to look at today is like the U.S. economy. There's a big bond sell-off right now. Now, I'm not as worried about this, but this could potentially turn bad fast. I think right now, though, the overall sentiment of the stock market doing well is going to overshadow this. Okay, the other thing that I want to talk about is SEI. I'm going to do a video on this later, but I just want to show you guys how to put in leverage trades because a lot of people have asked me. So this is BTCC, okay? There's a link down below in the description. They're a partner of the channel. If you use them, it helps me out. So you sign in. This is the homepage. You go to markets, and then this is all the trading pairs, right? There's a ton of trading pairs there. It's more than just what you see here. So I'm going to type in SEI. And we're going to trade this thing. And I'm doing this live, right? Like I'm bringing this up very live, like as we're going. So it's going to load the chart. Here is all the price index. I really wouldn't worry so much about this. What you want to do is I'm going to trade this. I don't want to put a 20x leverage in. I'm going to do like a 6x in. And you might be thinking like, okay, why are you doing SEI, Doc? Like what's so, well, I like SEI or SEI because I always pronounce this incorrect, but SEI has only gone up 3% in the last day or so, right? Versus some of these other projects, right, where on the day, they've really been popping. So my thought process is SEI could have room to run. It hasn't popped like some of these other big projects like Sonic, like Tau, Hype, Render. So that's kind of my thought process there. Now, this chart's loading, which is taking forever. Okay, this is the 1 hour chart. And yes, we're looking at the bull market, the Bollinger Bands, and it's at the top. I'm going to just change this to the 4 hour chart, right? And yes, it is pumping. It is starting to move, but I think it's going to move a lot more. We could even go to the daily chart, right? The 1 day chart, and it's sitting lower in the Bollinger Bands. I think this is going to start to jump up. So because of that, I'm actually going to put in a 4x long. So here's what this means. This is important. If you put a 4x long in, the price would have to decrease by 25% for you to get liquidated. Okay, I'm putting a 4x long in. The price would have to decrease by 25% for me to get liquidated. And that pretty much means my liquidation price would be 15 cents. Let's do another example. If I were to put a 2x leverage in, the price would have to decrease by 50% before I get liquidated, and that would be 10 cents. I'm just going to put this at 4, right? 4x, I'm going to hit confirm. And then the other thing is I changed this SEI to US dollars because I want to know how much I'm putting in with US dollars. So now I'm trading 4x, okay? So just for fun, I'm going to do $1,000. Now, really, this is 250 of my own dollars because it's 4x, right? 250 times 4x is $1,000. So then we hit open long, and it's going to say this is costing me, I'm going to zoom in on this, $250, right? And that makes sense because I'm doing a 4x leverage, and that's why it's worth $1,000. So I'm going to hit order confirmation. It's going to put the order in. Now, here's the thing. It shows that I'm down 0.5%. That's okay. There's going to be a little bit of movement as soon as you go in, right? So that's how you put a live trade in. And, I'm going to monitor this. I'm going to do an SEI video later today. So, guys, if you're getting any value of this, hit the like button, subscribe so you guys can follow this. YouTube can push in more content like this. And this is going to be kind of fun. We're doing this together, and hopefully you guys are, learning throughout the process. So if you guys do want to trade, my BTCC link is going to be down below. You get a 10% bonus on first time deposits. This is a no KYC, no VPN. And what that means is, got to give them your personal information. Plus, you get an extra 10 G's in bonus. If you use my link down below, which is going to be in the video description, you also get lower trading fees. And that's important because these fees can add up over time. You can also do up to 500x leverage on the big tokens like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. I wouldn't recommend that, like nowhere near that, right? You guys saw we just did a 4x leverage. So don't do these big leverages, especially as you're learning, but this is a way that you can make outsized gains. If you have questions about trading, guys, also down below is my free Discord. I have nothing to sell you here, 0 things to sell you, right? I'm not trying to make money off my following. That's not my intention. We're talking about different trade setups, different narratives, different projects that we're getting in. Link is going to be down below if you're looking for a group of like-minded people. Lastly, my website's down below, InvestWithDoc.com. I don't want to promote this too much. Really appreciate all the support on the YouTube. We're closing in on 7,000 subs. If you guys are getting any value out of this, consider hitting the like button, commenting down below. What do you think is going to happen with Bitcoin next? Because I'm genuinely curious too. All right, guys, appreciate the support. Again, like and comment if you don't mind, and I'll see you guys on my next video.